Episode 80. Hi, that's a big kitty walking down the street. With no tail? Hey, wait. You're not a kitty. Greetings and welcome into the Pawtuxet General. While the world tries to beat the heat, our little village is a different kind of weather every minute. Just like the saying goes, rain, burning sun, smoke, whipping winds, and even tornado warnings? Goodness. Well, let's have something to perk us up or cool us down, whatever you need. Let's have a shrub. Make mine rhubarb. It is the vegetables that steal the show this week. Bell zucchini and summer squash are out, and GC Farm at the Pawtuxet Village Farmers Market on Saturday mornings from 9 until noon has 'em. When you go, tell 'em Jess from the General sent you, 'cause I've got 2 recipes to whet your appetite, and you don't want to miss out. I also have a little tale to tell about a spooky local cat named Oscar. I bet you've heard of him. But first, I must thank our Patreon subscribers. These local wildlife watchers are the binoculars, patience, clear windows, trail photos, piles of straw, and doorbell cameras that capture the wild beast that is the Pawtuxet General, without whom we'd be out on the city streets. So thank you. If you would like to become one of these nature-loving folks, check out our page on patreon.com or simply follow the link in the show notes. But until then, what the world needs now is shrub, sweet shrub. Let's revisit shrubs, an excellent way to rehydrate and use those extra fruits and herbs that are in season right now. I've come up with and found a few combos that I think you'll love. What is a shrub? It is a syrup to which you add water, seltzer, or alcohol depending on your choice. Usually it has an herbal and fruit component, but always the fruit, vinegar, and sugar have equal amounts. I came up with these combos from my own garden. How about cucumber mint, or perhaps chamomile dill flower? I thought of a way to do tomato basil. Put them through the blender together, the vinegar and the sugar, and let it sit for 3 days in the fridge. Then put them through a cheesecloth-lined sieve. This would be great for Bloody Marys. But the one I'm doing today is blueberry rhubarb, or bluebarb as I like to say. And for this recipe, you will need 3/4 of a cup blueberries, 3/4 of a cup rhubarb, 1½ cups sugar, 1½ cups white vinegar, 1 rosemary sprig, leaves removed, and a glass container with a tight sealing lid, big enough to hold 4 cups, or just scale down the ingredients. Cut your rhubarb into small pieces so that there is more surface area to let go of its juices. Throw these, the blueberries, the sugar, and the rosemary, into the jar and macerate. Then add the vinegar, close the top. Let sit in your refrigerator for 3 days, then strain into a clean jar. Serve over ice, topped with seltzer. Sweet, savory, and refreshing. I suggest that you switch up the fruits and herbs with whatever you have to make your own combo. I've got a strawberry rhubarb going right now. I'll let you know how it goes. You do the same. Our email is jess@pawtuxetgeneral.com. If you're interested in other shrub flavors, check out episode 65 for lemon and episode 47 for orange, right there at the Pawtuxet General. Enjoy. I made this dish this week. We were lucky enough to have cool days after abundant local gardens, both big and small, and my weekend haul included 2 large onions from Leah's Vegetables, 2 large golden low-acid tomatoes from my garden, but I bought the seedlings from GC Farm, so they also have some of these coming into season this week. This is also where I found cue ball zucchini and ball summer squash. All of these to go with some garlic from Leah's Vegetables and my shopping for this dish at Pawtuxet Village Farmers Market, and my own garden was over. I was hungry and felt that simple was best, so I took a stainless steel roasting pan. For outdoor grilling, you could use a cast iron pan. And for this recipe to feed 4 as a side dish, you will need 2 medium or 1 large ball zucchini, 2 large tomatoes, 2 large onions, 2 large cloves of garlic well chopped, 3 tablespoons olive oil, 1 tablespoon Italian seasoning, 1 tablespoon freshly grated Parmesan, and 1/2 teaspoon salt and pepper. First, I slice the zucchini, onions, and tomatoes into equal width rounds. Starting with zucchini, layer 2 rounds, then go down 1/2 inch and lay 2 onions, then another 1/2 inch and lay 2 tomato slices. Continue until you run out of veg. Then cover them with a tablespoon of garlic, olive oil, Italian seasoning, and salt and pepper. Bake in a preheated 350-degree oven for 20 minutes, or use the grill with the top closed for 15 minutes if it's hot. Take it out and sprinkle on the Parmesan and a drizzle of olive oil. It is ready to serve over rice, on the side of pasta, or quiche, or any protein that strikes your fancy. But that is only the beginning for ball veggies. How about stuffing a ball summer squash? You could use the stuffing in episode 24's stuffed zucchini, or the super fast rice dish of episode 77, but today we are going to use orzo, spinach, tomato, olives, and feta. This is a crowd pleaser as well as having a high table wow factor. For this showstopper, you will need 1/2 cup frozen spinach, defrosted, 2 large or 4 medium, or 3 if you're serving a crowd, ball summer squash. 2 large potatoes cut into 1.5 inch chunks. 1 large or 2 medium onions finely chopped. They are for flavor, not crunch. 1 cup olives, rounds, either Kalamata or black, whatever you got. 8 ounces of cooked orzo. I would do that cooked until 1 minute shy of what the directions say is done. 2 tablespoons fresh oregano, salt and pepper to taste, 2 cups grape tomatoes, halved, or whatever tomatoes you have chopped small. 3 tablespoons olive oil, 1.5 cup feta cheese, 1/2 cup fresh basil, 1 lemon juiced, 1/4 cup fresh mint, and 1 pound ground beef. After washing your squash, take a peeler and peel the skin off the squash in 1.5 inch strips, 1 inch apart, starting 1 inch from the stem, all around the squash, including the bottom. Cut off the top along the top of your peel lines. Set them aside. Using a spoon, remove the flesh from the inside, leaving about 1/2 inch from the bottom and all around. Chop up the insides and set those aside, using a bake dish that is just slightly larger than your squashes so that they stand up with a tiny bit of room left for potato chunks. Put a pinch of salt into each cavity, rub it in, and turn it upside down to drain into the bake dish until needed. Now let's make that stuffing. In a good-sized pot that you have preheated on the stove, add the olive oil, then onions and ground beef with some salt and pepper. Lightly brown the beef, and then add the chopped summer squash, tomatoes, spinach, and olives. Let this simmer over medium heat for about 5 minutes. Then add the orzo, lemon juice, mint, oregano, basil, and feta cheese, and stuff into your zucchini shells, reserving about 1.5 cups of filling. Put your potato chunks in between the zucchinis to steady them. The tops go back on the shells, and then you cover the potatoes with the leftover filling. Bake in a 400-degree oven covered with a dampened parchment paper for 40 minutes. Then remove from the oven, baste with the juices from in the pan, and return uncovered to the oven for about 15 more minutes. If the potatoes and the zucchinis are fork tender, they are done. Serve warm for maximum comfort whenever you are lucky enough to find them, and enjoy. I want to tell you about my friend Mike and his electromagnetic pinball museum and restoration arcade. It's an all-inclusive place to relax and share anything related to modern pinball and arcade games. A group of pinball and arcade fans with an addiction to games of all kinds and Lego too. $10 gets you free play on pinball and arcade games all day. You can find them at 881 Main Street, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, or online at www.electromagneticpinballmuseum.com. It was only a week ago that a bobcat was sighted in Warwick, and I was not surprised. They were always a presence in the past and now seem to be making a resurgence. This happening at the same time that Rhode Island is trying to pass a bill to outlaw declawing has Rhode Island cats on my mind. Wild cats, pampered house cats, and working cats, like Oscar, who works at Steer House Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. A detailed description of Oscar's abilities can be found in Dr. David Dosa's book, The Extraordinary Gift of an Ordinary Cat, not to mention Dr. Dosa's article in the New England Journal of Medicine, which walks you through a day in the life, Oscar's that is. For he has a very special gift. He knows when you are about to die. He was one of 6 cats adopted by Steer House. Generally, he is hard to get along with, hissing if you get in his way. Who could have guessed that 6 months into his new home he would show a proclivity for foretelling death? It's not that the cat is consistently there first, but the cat always does manage to make an appearance, and it always seems to be in the last 2 hours, says Dr. Joan Tenno, a physician there. For a reason known only to Oscar, he walks the halls, king of his domain, and he will walk right into a room, sniff, and curl up with a patient purring. Staff are so used to this that they immediately call the family involved. This superior feline has been the subject of 3 books, 2 of them specifically about Oscar, as well as one according to the author Stephen King, who wrote Dr. Sleep, inspired by Oscar. Not only that, but he also is mentioned in various TV shows. CBS News did a segment on him. He inspired an episode of House, as well as an episode 13 of season 27 of The Simpsons, if you can believe that. There is even a song by Taco Cat named Oscar about him. There are several theories surrounding his special abilities, from suggestions that he smells certain chemicals that are given shortly before death, to simply noticing the lack of movement, to learned behavior. Sadly, we may never know what spiritual connection Oscar may have had with the dead and dying, for he himself passed away February 22nd, 2022 at the age of 17, after a brief illness. My only question is, who sat with him? Thank you once again for joining us today at the Pawtuxet General. If you would like to reach out with a comment, question, local ghost story, or an order for the Pawtuxet Village Farmers Market, our email is jess@pawtuxetgeneral.com. Please reach out. We can't wait to hear from you. But until then, I'll meet you right back here next time at the Pawtuxet General. A Something for Posterity production, pre-recorded in Pawtuxet.